Welcome into CBS Sports HQ. Amanda Garrett, Tommy Tran with you on a Tuesday. Week 14 officially in the books. Everyone is hating on Jalen Hurts. And I would like to say, Jalen, you are a good person, you're a kind person, and you will bounce back.
Wow, you're like giving him some affirmation after the multiple turnover game, including 2 in 1 play, which I'm still not sure that was the pick. Yes, but the fumble.
Did you see the Monsters Inc. version of it?
Yes, that was amazing. They did a very good job with that. It's all part of this, like, who's going to win? Nobody knows. If you love parity, this is the year for you, because if you looked at the playoff picture right now, week to week it changes, Amanda, because last week the Bears were number 1. And look, as we pull back, where are the Bears now? 7. They would be the last wild card team in after having a bye a week ago. That's how things shape up right now in today's NFL. We're now clear of any more bye weeks. 4 teams took that last week, and it's the only time in the last 15 seasons no team has had a division lead over 2 games in week 15 or later. So let's bring in our guy, John Breech, to talk about the NFL playoff picture. And there were a couple of tight races that we're highlighting here, John, which was the AFC North and the NFC North. Steelers and Packers end up winning those matchups. What's sort of the fallout as we take a look at the results from Sunday?
Well, let's start in the AFC North, Tommy, because it wasn't just the Steelers winning. You also had the Bengals losing their long shot hopes kind of out the window. And really with that win, Pittsburgh absolutely took control of this division. It's not just that they now have a 1-game lead with just 4 games remaining, but when you look at the schedule for Baltimore and you look at the schedule for Pittsburgh, the Steelers have the 7th easiest remaining strength of schedule. The Ravens have the 5th most difficult remaining strength of schedule. So now they have to face a Bengals team who, yes, they are 4-9, but the Bengals just beat the Ravens on Thanksgiving. Then you have to turn around and face a Patriots team that has the best record in the AFC, go on the road to Green Bay, and then end the season in Pittsburgh. There is a possibility the Ravens don't win another game. I'm not saying that is going to happen. I'm just saying that is a brutal schedule. So if the Ravens just slip up once there, that just makes the Steelers' route to an AFC North title that much easier. And so there is a reason why the Steelers are the odds-on favorite right now. And of course, their schedule isn't easy. They have to play the Dolphins on Monday night, but as we know, the Dolphins always struggle in cold weather, and that game is in Pittsburgh. Then they play the Lions in Week 16. That will certainly be an interesting game. But for the Steelers, it really comes down to if they end up sweeping the Ravens, getting that win in Week 18, it feels like it will be their division. And then in the NFC North, which you alluded to at the top, where the Chicago Bears fell all the way from the 1 seed down to the 7th seed. That is quite the tumble to take for just 1 loss. And for Green Bay, this was such a huge win because they took total control of the division. And obviously the odds agree with that because they are now the heavy favorite to win the AFC North. And really, if you look at Green Bay's schedule, they close the season with the Vikings. They still play the Ravens, and they could pull off a sweep with the Bears in a couple of weeks. And obviously a huge game this Sunday against the Broncos. But if the Packers go 3-1, they probably win that division. I think the more interesting part of the NFC North is kind of that battle that's brewing for second place between the Detroit Lions and the Bears. The Lions are lurking right there. They're just 1 game behind Chicago. And if you look at the Bears' schedule, it is pretty brutal. They do have the Browns coming up, but then after that, they close with the Packers, the 49ers, and the Lions. Those are 3 very difficult games. And the Bears could be staring at a scenario where they're facing Detroit in Week 18, and it's a win or go home game. If you win, you make the playoffs. If you lose, you're out. So the Bears were sitting pretty last week in that 1 seed, but now they're staring at a possibility they could be left out of the playoffs.
John, we have another division that's now up for grabs, the NFC South. The Bucs lost to the Saints over the weekend. They are now tied with the Panthers. Of note, they still play one another, the Bucs and the Panthers, twice. So how do you see things unfolding here, or maybe is it all going to come down to the last game of the season when they play each other?
Well, this has suddenly become the most fascinating division race in the NFL, mostly because nobody saw the Carolina Panthers competing for the division title. It seemed like if it was going to be a 2-horse race, it was going to be between the Bucs and the Falcons. Well, the Falcons, their season has gone sideways, so here we are with both of these teams tied at 7-6. And right now, the Buccaneers are on top because they have the common wins tiebreaker, and that tiebreaker might actually be what decides this division. Because if you look at their schedule, each team, the Bucs and Panthers, both have a divisional game this Sunday, with the Bucs facing the Falcons, the Panthers facing the Saints. If they win those games and they split their games against each other, there is a very real chance that the common games tiebreaker will decide the NFC South. And if that happens, the Buccaneers went 3-1 against the NFC West this year, and that will likely going to be the factor that puts them over the top if it does come down to common games. But yes, Amanda, I do absolutely think that this division very well could come down to that Week 18 showdown in another winner-go-home scenario where the winner goes to the playoffs and the loser is out.
Craziest thing about that division, the Saints only have 3 wins, but 2 of them are on the road at the Panthers and at the Bucs. That's so crazy.
They're just playing spoiler.
Exactly. They want to just, and they have one more opportunity against the Panthers, as we saw there on the schedule. All right, let's go to the AFC West, where it has been dominated by the Chiefs over the last decade. That will no longer be the case. There will be a new division champion, but with the loss to the Texans on Sunday, Kansas City still has a chance, John Breech, but it is ever so slim when it comes to Mahomes and company making it to the postseason.
Tommy, their playoff chances are certainly on life support, but if anyone can revive them, it is Patrick Mahomes. We don't want to write the Chiefs completely off just yet. And here is their simplest route to the playoffs. First, they absolutely have to win out. And of course, they have that huge game on Sunday against the Chargers. Chargers are going to be on a short week. Their quarterback, Justin Herbert, has a broken hand. So the Chiefs, that is a winnable game. It's at Arrowhead. Then they play the Titans, the Broncos, the Raiders. And I think the key thing here for Kansas City is that their 2 most difficult games against the Chargers and the Broncos, those are both at home. So you feel like if you're Kansas City, those are winnable. And if you go 4-0, 10-7 gives you a legitimate chance to get to the postseason. Now, the other part of this is that the Chiefs need the Chargers to finish 10-7 or worse. Well, the Chargers are 9-4 right now, so that means the LA has to go 1-3 or worse down the stretch. And so when you look at the Chargers' schedule, well, that's somewhat possible because they have to lose Sunday against the Chiefs. That's one of the losses. The Chargers still play the Texans. That's not going to be an easy game. They play the Cowboys, and they play the Broncos. So when you look at that slate, it is certainly possible the Chargers could go 1-3 down the stretch, and 2 of those 3 losses would need to be to the Chiefs and to the Broncos, and that would allow the Chiefs to win a tiebreaker over the Chargers. And then they now have the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Ravens and the Colts, so that would help them if those 2 teams end up in a tie for that 7th seed. So the Chiefs are on life support, but I'm telling you guys, there's a chance.
I have so many thoughts on this. Are you ready to say they're not going to make it or not yet?
I am, yeah. They're done.
You're ready
to
say they're done.
Bang, stick a fork in them.
Okay.
Because they don't have no tiebreakers. They don't have tiebreakers against the Jags unless the Jags win the division. They did beat the Colts, and the Colts are floundering, but they don't have Buffalo as a head-to-head, so I'm ready to stick a fork in them.
I feel like I'm the same way, too. And, John, if they lose to the Chargers, they are effectively eliminated. Is that right?
Yes, I do believe that we'll find out that they can actually be eliminated this week. The NFL has people working on those scenarios. But if they lose to the Chargers on Sunday, Tommy's fork can go ahead and be stuck in the Chiefs.
Okay, all right, almost. I'm with you, though. Yeah. I think they're done. But as you said, if anybody can do it, I hate that that's coming out of my mouth. It is going to be the Chiefs. Let's go from the AFC West to the NFC West, because interesting point here. So the Rams and the Seahawks are at the top of this, sitting at 10-3. The 49ers are right behind them at 9-4. But, John, you still think there is a chance they could win this division?
Plus 600. I might have to sprinkle something on. I did not see the odds this morning, but yes, this has really been talked about as a 2-horse race between the Rams and the Seahawks. When you have the 49ers, who are lurking 1 game back, they were banged up all season, but they're coming off their bye, so they're going to be as fresh as they've been all year. And here's the important thing with the 49ers. For them to win the division, they really only need 2 things to happen. Number 1, they have to win their remaining games. Well, they have the Titans. They have a Colts team that doesn't have a quarterback and might be trotting out a 44-year-old Phillip Rivers. They have a Bears team at home, and then obviously that showdown in Week 18 against the Seahawks team that the 49ers have already beaten this year. So if the 49ers win out, that gets them to 13-4. The only other result they need is for the Seahawks to beat the Rams in Week 16. If that happens and the 49ers win out, the 49ers win the division. So it's really not that complicated. There's a pretty simple path for them to win the NFC West. So it is really surprising to me that they've been kind of cast off and forgotten about when they've been resurgent. They're 9-4. They're playing above expectations. They're playing some of their best football of the year. And they have one of the easier remaining schedules when you look around the NFC down the stretch. So the 49ers certainly could be a dark horse to win the NFC West this year.
The NFC is stacked, and they could have a scenario in which an 11-win team could be left out of the postseason. That's how crazy things are in that conference. In the AFC, it's a little bit more wide open.
It's fun, though.
It is fun. Breech, certainly appreciate it. Thanks for hopping on, giving us all those scenarios. Again, we're getting ready for some impactful games, too, this weekend. Can't believe that could top what we saw last weekend, but that's what Game Day Recap is for. Sundays at 8:20 Eastern. You might have missed on an NFL Sunday.